Chapter 18. Eva dropped back, her heart racing. "I'll kill you too," Cherise shrieked. "Don't think I won't." "Call the police," Eva told herself. "Go next door and get help." As she turned to run, another gust of wind set the swing in motion, crashing it into her. She stumbled sideways. As she reached out to grab the porch railing, she heard the screen door rattle behind her. "Eva?" Cherise called. "Hi. I thought I heard somebody out here." Eva caught her balance and turned around. Cherise stood behind her, one arm propping the door open. "You look upset," she said. "Who was screaming?" Eva demanded. "I heard—" As Cherise started to reply, another voice drowned her out. "Go ahead and laugh," it screamed. "It's the last laugh you'll ever have." Cherise glanced behind her into the house. "Terry, would you turn that down?" she shouted. She turned back to Eva. "My sister," she explained. "She's watching TV. She always plays it too loud." The screaming voice grew softer. "I thought it was real," Eva laughed. "I guess I'm feeling kind of jumpy." Cherise pushed the door open wider. "Come on in. Want a Coke?" Eva nodded and followed her down a hall. They passed the living room where Cherise's sister sat staring at the television, and turned through a door into a big, sunny kitchen. "Sit down." Cherise pulled 2 cans of soda from the refrigerator and set them on a round wooden table. "You still look upset," she declared, as she took glasses from the counter and filled them with ice. "It's because of Tanya, isn't it?" Eva nodded. She popped the top on her soda and poured some. Her hand shook as she raised the glass. She set it back down. "Hey, you're really freaked," Cherise commented. "I mean, I don't blame you. Tanya's your best friend. You must feel awful. Well, everybody does." Eva nodded again. Does Cherise really feel awful, she wondered. "It's so horrible," Eva murmured. She managed to pick up the glass without sloshing any soda out. "Yeah," Cherise agreed. "What do you think happened? I don't mean to sound morbid, but do you think she's dead?" "I don't know," Eva replied. She wondered if Cherise knew. "I wish I did. Not knowing is the worst." "That's what Sandy says." Eva glanced at her. "He does?" "Sure." Cherise twisted a strand of red hair around her finger, a worried expression on her face. "He's just a total mess because of it." Eva drank some more Coke. "Go ahead and tell her," she urged herself. "Tell her what Jeremy said. Get it over with." She took a deep breath. Listen, Cherise. Jeremy heard you and Sandy talking yesterday." "Oh?" Cherise crunched on an ice cube. "What about?" "Well, that's what I came over here for," Eva explained. "Jeremy thinks he heard you and Sandy plotting to kill Tanya." Cherise's blue eyes widened in shock. "That's crazy!" she cried, jumping up from her chair. "How can you say that?" "I didn't say it," Eva replied. "Jeremy did." "Well, he's wrong," Cherise declared. "He's totally wrong. When did he hear us anyway? Where?" "At school," Eva explained. "Yesterday afternoon, right before the shoot. He was at his locker, and you two were around the corner from him." Cherise thought about it a moment. "Oh," she cried, "I know what it was. I was helping Sandy rehearse for Keith's video. I was helping him learn his lines." Eva felt a surge of relief. Keith's script was full of lines like the one Jeremy overheard. Cherise's explanation made total sense. "Thank goodness," she thought. "Now I don't have to walk around thinking Cherise is a killer." "I can't believe Jeremy would accuse us of something like that," Cherise declared. "That's horrible." "He's kind of a mess, too," Eva reminded her. "Yeah, I guess so." As Cherise started toward the table for her soda, the phone rang. She turned back to the counter and punched a button on the telephone. "Hello?" A muffled hissing sound filled the room. Eva glanced around. "Speakerphone," Eva whispered to her. "Hello?" she repeated. The hissing stopped. Eva heard the caller take a long, slow breath, and then an eerie, whispery voice filled the kitchen. "I killed Tanya," it rasped. "You're next." Chapter 19. Eva gasped as the words echoed in the big kitchen. "Who is this?" Cherise demanded. The blood had drained from her face. "What are you talking about?" "Tanya was first," the voice rasped. "You're next." A loud click made Eva jump. Then the dial tone hummed in the room. Cherise hung up and wrapped her arms around herself with a shiver. "Who was that?" she asked shrilly. Eva shook her head. "I don't know." Cherise shivered again. "I couldn't even tell if it was a boy or a girl. And who was he talking to? Me? You? Both of us?" Eva didn't reply. She stared at her glass of soda, trying to figure out what was going on. "Eva, what are you thinking?" Cherise asked. "Something is wrong," Eva told her. "No kidding." Eva shook her head again. No, I mean, this whole thing just doesn't feel right. Something is not the way it seems. Well, what? Charisse demanded. I don't have a clue, Eva admitted. It's a feeling. Oh, one of your psychic ones, Charisse sounded skeptical. They've never been wrong, Eva told her, but it's not like a vision or anything like that. I can just feel when something is wrong. Too bad your feeling can't tell us who called. Charisse rubbed her arms and eyed the phone warily. That voice really spooked me. I keep trying to convince myself it was just a prank call. Me too, but we'd better report it to the police. Eva sighed as Charisse picked up the phone. The caller said he killed Tanya, she thought. Maybe Tanya, really, is dead. Whoa, that must have freaked you out, Keith declared after school the next day. What did he say again? He said, I killed Tanya, you're next, Eva repeated. But I couldn't really tell if it was a he, and neither could Charisse. The voice was so weird, harsh and whispery. Eva shivered as she stood with Keith in the school parking lot. Dry leaves skittered around in the wind, and dark clouds raced across the sky. Winter will be here soon, she thought, shivering again, and Tanya is still missing. She gazed across the parking lot. Jeremy leaned against the side of a car, a glum expression on his face. She just told him and Keith about the phone call. Jeremy hadn't said a word. He just walked halfway across the parking lot and then stopped, as if he couldn't decide what to do or where to go. The longer Tanya stays missing, the more worried he gets, Eva thought, and telling him about the phone call didn't help. If only I could figure out what's going on. So, what did the police say? Keith asked, interrupting Eva's thoughts. I told you, they didn't believe me, Eva scowled. They still think the whole thing is a joke. Some joke, Keith muttered. I can't believe they aren't taking it seriously. Eva nodded. It doesn't make sense, she thought. None of this makes sense. Well, listen, I have to go, Keith told her, zipping up his black leather jacket. Uh-oh, he murmured. Here comes trouble. Eva turned and saw Leslie striding toward them, her long brown hair blowing in the wind. Keith, Leslie called out, I need to talk to you. Keith sighed. What's the problem? Eva whispered to him. She wants to be a star, that's the problem, he murmured. She won't get out of my face. Leslie hurried up to them. I've been trying to call you, Keith, she told him accusingly. Yeah, well, I've been kind of busy. And kind of worried, Eva added, about Tanya, remember? Leslie scowled, insulted. Of course I remember. She pulled a strand of hair out of her eyes and turned to Keith again. That's one of the reasons I want to talk to you. Keith's eyes lit up. You know something about her? No, how should I? Leslie asked impatiently. Anyway, I know you need someone to play the homecoming queen in your video, so I've decided to forget how you dumped me for the part. I'll do it. Keith shifted his weight and glanced around. What's the problem? Leslie asked. You do need an actress, right? Well, no. Sorry, Keith told her. But I've dropped the homecoming queen idea. Eva stared at him in surprise. He hadn't told her. She knew how much that video meant to him, but she felt glad anyway. With Tanya gone, it wouldn't be the same. But you have to do something to show the film schools, Leslie insisted. You're not giving up, are you? No way, Keith replied. I'm working on another video now, with Sandy. Oh? Leslie's eyes gleamed with interest. What's it about? Is there a part for me? Keith shook his head. Sorry, he repeated. It's kind of a secret project. Leslie scowled at him. And you're doing it with Sandy? And there's nothing in it for me? Right. Leslie tossed her hair back and glared at him. Keith shrugged. Sorry, he told her for the third time. Oh, stop saying that, Leslie snapped. You're not sorry at all. Keith shrugged again. Whatever. Eva turned away, thinking she'd go over and try to cheer Jeremy up, but Jeremy had left. Instead, Eva saw Sandy walking toward them. Leslie spotted him too. She sucked in her breath and stalked away, giving Sandy a disgusted glance as she passed him. What's her problem? Sandy asked as he shuffled slowly up to them. Never mind. I don't want to hear it. I was halfway home when I realized I forgot all my books. I must be losing my mind. Eva stared at him. You look terrible, she told him. I feel terrible. Sandy blinked his red-rimmed eyes. I haven't slept. I can't stop thinking about Tanya. Nobody can, Eva murmured. We're all worried out of our minds. Yeah. Keith punched Sandy lightly on the arm. Go home, man. At least try to sleep. You look like the Walking Dead. Sandy nodded and headed into the school. You want a ride home? Keith asked Eva. No thanks. I think I'll see if Jeremy's still around somewhere. Eva nodded goodbye to Keith, then crossed the parking lot. She glanced around, thinking Jeremy might have just moved down the row of cars. But she didn't see him. He wasn't on the sidewalk or the hill that led toward the football field either. He must have gone home, Eva decided. She began to leave the parking lot, then realized she'd forgotten her backpack. Sandy's not the only one who's too upset to remember things, she thought. Eva ran across the windy lot and into the school. As she passed the auditorium, she heard voices coming from inside. Were they practicing for the homecoming ceremony without Tanya? She couldn't stand to know. She hurried past the doors and trotted up to the second floor. She heard a locker slam somewhere in the distance. Then she heard footsteps echoing loudly in the empty hall. Rounding the corner, Eva saw Leslie rushing toward her. She saw Leslie's frightened expression. Then she saw the dark stain on Leslie's yellow sweater. "Leslie!" Eva cried. "What is all that blood?" Chapter 20. Leslie stopped quickly and flung her hair out of her face. Eva sucked in her breath, shocked and frightened. She stared hard at Leslie, at the bloodstain on the front of her sweater. Then she raised her eyes to Leslie's face, and gasped. A streak of blood washed across one of Leslie's cheeks and dripped slowly down onto her neck. Beads of bright red glistened on her eyelashes and scattered across her cheeks. Her hands looked as if she dipped them into a bucket of blood. "Leslie, you're hurt!" Eva cried. Okay, I think." Leslie raised a bloody hand and pushed her hair away again. "It's kind of embarrassing, actually." "What are you talking about?" "I was so furious, Eva, I lost my temper." Leslie's lips quivered. "I just blew up, and I slammed my locker door against the wall." "Your locker?" Eva's words caught in her throat. Leslie took a deep breath. "I keep a mirror hanging inside the locker," she explained. Her voice shook, and her gaze kept skipping around the hall. She wiped her hands on her jeans. As she did, she winced. "When I opened the locker, I slammed the door back really hard. The mirror broke, and I cut myself." "Where?" Eva asked. "The mirror just shattered," Leslie cried. "Pieces of glass sprayed all over me." A drop of blood spilled from Leslie's eyelashes and rolled toward her mouth. She wiped it away. Eva put an arm around her shoulders. "Come on, let's go into the bathroom. I'll help you clean up." "I just want to get out of here," Leslie declared. "You can't walk around with that blood all over you," Eva insisted, pulling her toward the bathroom across the hall. "You'll give people a heart attack. You almost gave me one." In the bathroom, Leslie leaned against the tile wall and closed her eyes. Eva wadded up a bunch of paper towels and dampened them in cool water. Then she gently wiped Leslie's face and hands and neck, getting as much blood off as she could. "That's good enough." Leslie pushed herself away from the wall. "Thanks, Eva, but I need to get away from here." "Want to borrow my jacket to cover up?" Eva asked, tossing the towels into the wastepaper basket. "It's in my locker." Leslie shook her head, her face pale. "No, I just want to go home." She checked herself in the mirror, then pulled open the door. "Thanks for helping, Eva," she called back over her shoulder. Eva washed her hands and left the bathroom. "All I want to do is go home, too," she thought, as she walked down the hall. "Go home, crawl under the covers, and go to sleep. Maybe when I wake up, this awful feeling will be gone." But she knew it wouldn't. Eva turned another corner and hurried toward her locker. As she drew closer, she saw a dark stain on the floor in front of it. No, not a stain, a dark puddle. Sidestepping it, Eva spun the combination lock and yanked open the door. "Huh?" She let out a startled cry as a boy tumbled out of the locker. Eva stared in horror at the thick, brownish blonde hair and the good-looking face of Sandy Bishop. Sandy's eyes were closed. His lips were drawn back from his teeth, as if he were screaming. His body slid slowly from the locker, his shoulders, his chest, his legs. He twisted as he fell, and then his face slammed into the puddle of blood on the floor. Blood, Eva thought, as her heart thundered loudly. Sandy's blood. She reached toward him, her hand shaking. Then she saw the knife. A thick-handled knife, stuck halfway to the hilt in Sandy's back. Feeling dizzy, Eva jerked her hand away and straight up. As she did, she caught sight of the words on the inside of her locker door. The words scrolled in blood. "Sandy's blood. Your turn next." Eva's own blood pounded in her ears. She wanted to run, but she couldn't move. She couldn't take her eyes off Sandy. Somebody killed him, she thought, stabbed him in the back. And I'm next. Terrified, she raised her hands to her hair and began to scream. Chapter 21. "I still can't believe it," Charisse cried. "Sandy dead? It's like a nightmare." Charisse sat on one end of the couch in Eva's living room. Leslie sat on the other end. Keith paced the floor, stopping every once in a while to glance out the front window. Jeremy sat tensely on the low stone ledge in front of the fireplace, clutching a can of soda and staring at the rug. Eva sat in a soft, fat armchair and listened as the others discussed Sandy's murder. I'm so exhausted, she thought. It must be from the shock. It had been 3 hours since she discovered Sandy's body. The police came, and after they talked to Eva, they rounded up Sandy's friends and questioned them. Afterward, they all gathered at Eva's house. Nobody wants to go home yet, Eva thought, glancing around. We're all so upset and so frightened. What is going on? What is going on? Charisse wailed, echoing Eva's thought. This is totally unbelievable. You already said that a zillion times, Keith groaned. Well, excuse me, Charisse snapped. I suppose you think it's normal to have dead bodies falling out of lockers? Eva shuddered and curled her legs underneath her. Sorry, Eva, Charisse said. She sighed and twisted a strand of hair around her finger. Sorry, everybody. I guess I'm a little freaked. We all are. Jeremy's voice sounded hollow. Keith peered out the window for a moment, then began pacing again. As he did, he held up the fingers of one hand. Tanya's gone. He bent a finger down. Eva and Charisse get a threatening phone call. Sandy is murdered, and Eva finds a threatening message. Keith bent the last finger and clenched his fist. What does it all mean? Eva shuddered again, remembering those bloody words. Your turn next. She knew what that meant, but did someone really plan to kill her? I keep trying to figure out what's coming, Keith went on. You know, like I'm watching a movie or something, trying to guess what's going to happen. Jeremy raised his head. It's not a movie plot, Keith. Unfortunately, it's real. Well, it doesn't hurt to try to figure things out, Charisse told him. Maybe if we do, this awful nightmare will be over. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she plucked a tissue from the box on the end table. Somebody's trying to kill us. That's what's happening, Keith declared. Is that true? Eva wondered. Tanya's missing, and Sandy's dead, and I got that message, but still, something doesn't make sense. Something feels wrong. What I want to know is why someone's doing it, Keith said. Why would someone want us dead? Who cares why? Charisse asked. The important thing is who? Everyone turned to Leslie. She sat huddled on a couch, nervously chewing on a thumbnail. Did Leslie really cut herself on a mirror this afternoon? Eva wondered. Or did she kill Sandy? Feeling everyone's eyes on her, Leslie stopped chewing her nail and stared back. Don't look at me like that, she told them. Eva dropped her eyes, feeling slightly ashamed. Okay, so Leslie had a bad temper, and she was furious with Tanya and with Sandy. That didn't make her a killer, did it? The police grilled me too, remember? Leslie reminded them in a shaky voice. I was alone in the school. Eva found me covered with blood. They kept asking me what happened, over and over and over. It was horrible. And now you guys are staring at me as if you suspect me too. Look, we're upset and scared, Keith said. So am I, Leslie insisted. But I'm not a killer. None of us are. We're all just normal kids. Who is doing this? The telephone rang shrilly and everyone jumped. Eva slipped out of the chair. It's Mom, she thought as she crossed the living room to answer it. Probably calling to say she's leaving work now. Thank goodness she wasn't home when we got here. She's going to freak when she hears what happened to Sandy. Hello? Eva said. Silence. And then a low, raspy voice came over the line. The same voice Eva had heard at Charisse's house. Your turn next, it whispered. What? Eva gripped the phone so hard her knuckles turned white. Who is this? What are you trying? Your turn next, the voice interrupted. First Tanya, then Sandy. Silence for a second. Eva waited, her heart pounding. Then you, the voice whispered. Chapter 22. I really don't feel like doing this, Eva told Keith the next afternoon. Come on, Eva. Keith hoisted the camcorder on his shoulder and gave her a pleading look. It won't take long. Eva yanked her hair out of her face and glanced up at the top of the football stadium bleachers. I didn't braid my hair. This wind will turn it into a tumbleweed. Keith rolled his eyes. Don't worry about the way you look. These are supposed to be candid video portraits of my friends, remember? It's not a modeling job, for crying out loud. What am I supposed to do, anyway? Just talk to the camera, Keith told her. He turned and started up the steps. Or you and Charisse can talk to each other. She's coming too, remember? Well, why do we have to be outside? Eva asked. Why can't we go in where it's warm? Sandy shook his head. All the other video portraits were done out here. Jeremy's and Tanya's and Sandy's. I want them all to be in exactly the same place. Keith reached the top of the bleachers. Besides, I told Charisse to meet us up here, he added. Come on. Eva followed reluctantly. She really did not want to stand in front of a camera and talk, but she'd promised Keith. What should we talk about? She asked. Whatever you want, he called over his shoulder. Whatever's on your mind. Tanya and Sandy, Eva thought. That's all that's on anyone's mind. Tanya and Sandy, and that horrible phone call yesterday. Your turn next. Eva shivered and ran up the last few steps, joining Keith at the top of the bleachers. While he checked out the camera, she fished in her jeans pocket, hoping to find a rubber band. Nothing but lint. I can't stand this, she cried, sweeping her hair out of her eyes. Keith glanced at her. Not your hair again. No! Eva knelt down and began rummaging through her book bag. It's not my hair at all. It's everything that's going on. I can't stop thinking about it. Keith carefully lowered the camera onto a bleacher seat. Yeah, I know what you mean. I guess that phone call really shook you up, huh? I'm scared to death, Eva admitted. She pawed through the book bag some more and finally found a rubber band way at the bottom. That voice. I keep hearing it in my head all night long. I wish I could have heard it, Keith said. You wouldn't have recognized it, Eva assured him. It's creepy and rough. Not anybody we know. She grabbed her hair and twisted the rubber band around it. Someone is planning to kill us all. But why? What did we do? Keith shook his head. I don't know. I'm as confused as everybody else. We're all in the dark about this. That's what's so scary. Eva took a deep breath. Well, anyway, that's why I don't feel like doing the video. Because I'm worried. Not because of my hair. But you'll do it anyway, right? Keith asked. Eva nodded. Great. He picked up the camcorder and peered through the lens. Smile. I'll make you a star. I don't want to be a star, Eva thought. I just want to be safe. I want everybody to be safe. But she forced a smile. Keith is only trying to cheer me up, she realized. Okay, ready? He called. Wait a sec. Eva glanced around. I thought you said Charisse was coming. Yeah, well, she's late, Keith shrugged. I'll get her some other time. Now, start talking. Eva rolled her eyes. Okay. Hi, Keith. She stuck out her tongue and waved to the camera. How's that? Is that enough? Are you going to clown around the whole time? He asked, exasperated. Okay, no more clowning. I promise. Eva took a deep breath. Hi, I'm Eva Whelan. Hold it, Keith interrupted. Step back, would you? Lean against the bleacher rail. You look like you're standing at attention. Eva backed up a couple of steps and stretched her arms out along the wooden railing. Perfect, Keith told her, but lean against it. Try to relax. Eva leaned back, letting the rail take most of her weight. A horrible cracking sound split the air. Gasping, Eva felt herself falling backward as the rail started to give way behind her. Help! Keith! Too late. She started to fall. Out of the corner of her eye, Eva caught a glimpse of the ground far below. It really is my turn, she realized. My turn to die. Chapter 23. Keith! Eva shrieked. Keith! Eva twisted sideways and caught the edge of the bleacher step with one hand. She hung by an arm, her legs dangling in the air. Her fingers began to slip. She screamed again. Then Keith grabbed hold of her wrist, clamping onto it like a vice. Eva swept her other arm toward him, and he latched onto that one too. Don't let me fall, she cried. Please? Keith began pulling her up, his eyes squeezed almost shut with the effort. Pain shot through Eva's arms. It felt as if they were being torn from their sockets. Swing your leg up, Keith groaned, pulling hard. His face turned red as he struggled to hang on. Get your leg up! Eva's chest scraped against the edge of the bleachers. She swung her leg and tried to hook her toe onto the edge, but her sneaker started to slip off. She bent her knee and felt it scrape up and over the rough cement. Keith pulled harder, grunting and straining, and then she was up, scrambling over the edge. She lay flat on her stomach on the hard cement, dazed with relief. Keith sat back on his heels, panting. Eva finally pushed herself to her hands and knees. Thanks, she said shakily. She rolled over and sat. Thanks, Keith. Sure. Keith hung his head, still catching his breath. What happened anyway? I heard this cracking sound. The railing. It broke. Keith shook his head. How could that happen? It's new. They put it in last spring, remember? Eva turned to the broken railing. It had broken in the middle, but it hadn't fallen completely off, and the break didn't look jagged at all. It looked as if it had been snapped cleanly. Scrambling to their feet, they both went to check it out. It didn't break. Keith rubbed his finger across one end of the wood, then stared at Eva. This didn't break by itself. Somebody sawed it. A shiver ran up Eva's back. She stared at the railing. Somebody tried to kill me, she realized, and they almost succeeded. Come on, Keith's voice sounded rough with fear. Let's get out of here. He picked up his camcorder and started down the steps. Eva followed, still shaken. Your turn next, a voice had told her. First Tanya, then Sandy, then you. Am I really next on the list? Will someone try again? When they reached the ground, Keith turned to her. Are you really okay? Sure. What about you? Eva asked. I mean, your arms must be about 5 inches longer. Keith smiled grimly. I'm fine. Good, but I lied before, Eva confessed. I'm not okay. I'm scared. Yeah, I guess we should tell the police about it? I guess, Eva sighed. But what if they still think this whole thing is one big joke? Wait until they see that railing, Keith declared. That will show them. When they see that it was sawed, they'll know this is serious. Besides, after Sandy's murder, they have to know this isn't a joke. Eva nodded, swallowing nervously. Sirius is right, she thought. I almost fell and broke my neck. I could have died. I was supposed to die. Eva shivered. She glanced back up to the top of the bleachers. Someone stood there, not far from the broken railing. No, I don't believe it, Eva screamed. You're here?